Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land, and welcome to DC Fans United. So today I am continuing my series of reviews by taking a look at Raven, Daughter of Darkness, number 4. So I've reviewed the first 3 issues, and I'm going to be continuing to review the rest of the 12 issues in this miniseries, so you can check those out with a link in the description box. It'll have a playlist of all of them. So this issue was written by Marv Wolfman. Pop Man did the art on this. Laverne Kindersky is the colorist. Seda Temofonte is the letterer, and Yannick Paquet did the cover. And Nathan Fairburn did the coloring on the cover. So we'll go ahead and check out the cover. It says Trigun Triumphant, and you can see Raven there in the foreground sending out a literal raven of her magic towards Trigun, and presumably that's her mother there that she's cradling. So very reminiscent of what happens in the issue. I think it's pretty good. For some reason it's not my favorite. I think maybe it's a little busy. There's a lot of detail on Trigun, which is good, but in some ways it's a little too much with all the words and everything. But overall, a very good cover nonetheless. So we'll go ahead and start off on the first page, and we see on the left-hand side kind of really an information dump, but a bit of a dialogue dump, and it's all Raven just talking in her own mind, and she's wondering about the faceless girls that she saw, so those are going to be a major part of this storyline. And the rest of this page, the panels here, this picks up with what happened at the end of the last issue. So what we saw at the very end of the last issue is one of the faceless girls, as you see here, sent Raven away, and there's actually a little smoke left around from that. So that's how we know it's right at, taking place right after the end of the last issue. And I really like that they did that. So, little things like that really help with the continuity, so you can follow and know that it's happening right where the last issue ended. So anyways, a bunch of soldiers and guards run up on her and are going to try and stop her, but she's got wicked powers and takes them out. I know I've been dwelling on this page for a bit, but it is a good example too of the backgrounds throughout this series not being very detailed. As you can see here, it's like a 3D blocky kind of thing, which is fine. I know they don't have forever to make comics, but after reading several issues of that, it's something I really notice is kind of a continual thing with this series. So there's a couple pages of her just destroying the guards. They can't stand against her. And then we get the credits page, and we see that she's come upon her sisters. So there are many faceless girls, and they all have powers, and they're all imprisoned here. And then the scene changes. So where Raven had been teleported at the end of the last issue was to her friend's grandmother's funeral. And her own mother shows up. So there's going to be this whole confrontation between her aunt and her mother, essentially, both wanting to be her primary guardian. And all the while, Baron Winters, who's we've seen in the previous issues, is watching the proceedings. So aside from the backgrounds not being super detailed, the people themselves are usually pretty detailed, and their faces and clothes and stuff often look really good. And the coloring's been good throughout this series. I can't complain about that. So then we see the faceless girl breaks out the others. So she says, "My sisters will die if she doesn't rescue them," but she can't rescue all of them in time. And even some of the ones she gets out are killed. So more soldiers show up, and it's kind of wicked, but you see them shooting the girls, and she uses her powers once again, and then they head out. The faceless girls head out because they want to find Raven, and they actually want to kill Raven, which is kind of crazy. So it's a little confusing what happens next, because they actually just go to where Raven is. I'm not sure how they know, but they go straight to where she is, and when they attack, they put the family to sleep since they don't want to fight with them, but they confront Raven, and right when they're going to attack her, she just leaves. Raven can teleport, as we've seen in previous issues, so she leaves. And it's kind of convoluted, but she convinced, I guess through magic or something, the family that had fallen asleep. And they actually say Raven put this in. It wasn't the faceless girls, but Raven left them with an explanation as to where she had gone. So she was going to go help her friend whose grandmother had died. I don't know, it's all very convoluted, but you're gonna have to read it to get all of the details. Basically, Raven's gone and the family thinks it's okay, but she's actually with her mom now, and they're stalking along through the forest. And all along, Baron Winters is still watching with his assistant Merlin. It's actually not clear if Merlin is more powerful than Baron Winters, or if, because they both use magic, as we see, and are both intelligent. I actually would like to know more about these guys. If anybody knows down in the comments what they're from. They have a really cool look. I kind of wish they did more other than mostly observe. So Raven and her mom are going through the forest. The outdoor scenes are always colored really well in this series. I do think the outdoors look a lot better, actually, maybe because the indoors are lacking in detail. But anyways, she asks her mom a bunch of questions about her past, and she isn't telling her, so Raven just kind of grabs her and reads her mind. We get all this backstory on Raven's mom. It's pretty dark. You know, you could read it for yourself. Basically, though, it's her childhood and teenage years are all real bad, and she, she goes out on her own, and she meets a guy, and she thinks he's all that, but turns out he's actually Trigun, so pretty crappy for her. And Raven's like, oh, I had no idea. I never knew your life was so bad. And her mom's like, well, that's why I was hiding it from you. And, it's actually pretty touching. But as they're talking, then we see more of those soldiers come up, and they're sneaking up on them. And one of them actually shoots, and it hits Raven's mom. So they just had this moment of understanding, and then the mom gets shot. So that's pretty crappy. Raven, of course, gets very mad. She says, you tried to kill my mother. And this panel was probably my favorite. Big blue change of color, and you see her attack with her ravens, and she says, either way, you made a grave mistake, because she said, you tried to kill my mother, and he says, no, I swear our orders are to take you prisoner, not kill you. And then Raven says, either way, you made the biggest mistake of your lives, and hits him pretty good. But then one of the soldiers puts a cap on her, so this is a bad deal here. This cap nullifies her powers, so they're able to capture her and her mother. But as they're leaving in the helicopter, one of the faceless girls, they all have random powers, uses her eye beams and straight up shoots down the helicopter. So you see this here, it crashes, and then they come up, the faceless girls come up, and they're gonna kill Raven. And it's the very last page. Baron Winters is watching still. That's all he does in this issue, is watch what's going on through his fireplace. But the flames are turning into some kind of forms, and he doesn't know who it is. And that's where the issue ends. So you can tell it's an issue number 4 of 12. Like, it's basically just expanding the story. I thought it was pretty good. I'd give the writing like a 9, and the art overall, it was good. It's just the backgrounds so it's like, give the art on the figures like a 9 or an 8 as well, but the backgrounds were often really lacking, like a 5. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, especially if you made it to the end. If you made it this far, why not subscribe? So be sure and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell for notifications. A lot of times people don't know when I post new content. And that's all. As always, thank you for watching and being a part of DC Fans United.
End of line.